Very excited to welcome my next guest to the show. Conor Robinson graduated from Yale University, where he launched the Yale Humanist Society and currently serves as the project director of the Humanist Service Corps, an international volunteer effort run by the Foundation Beyond Belief. He was the recipient of Foundation Beyond Belief's 2014 Humanist Visionary Award, and as near as I can tell from his online profile pics, he rocks a spectacular beard. Conor, welcome to the Scathing Atheist.
Oh, thanks. It's good to be here.
Now, you're joining us from Ghana, correct?
Yeah, I'm up in the rural northern reaches of the northern region of Ghana. So sorry for any lag that appears in the show.
Yeah, no problem, no problem. We'll fix all of that in editing. None will be the wiser. So you're not just in Ghana. You're in the backwoods parts of Ghana.
Oh yeah. We're in the region that has triple the rates of poverty, literacy, and a fraction of the population. It's very rural here. We actually just got through there's an entire season here. It's called the Harmattan season, when the winds from the Sahara Desert just bring dust and heat. So you can imagine, it's backwoods in a different sense of the word up here.
Yeah, right. Right. As I'm sure our audience is already noticing a bit from the Skype connection you're getting, not the greatest Wi-Fi there in Ghana as well, I'm sure. Now, so has the beard still made it? Has it had been sacrificed to the equatorial heat, or are you still rocking it?
Well, actually, it wasn't because of heat that I sacrificed it. I'm not rocking the full beard at the moment. I ended up growing it for a year and a half, and it got all the way down to the bottom of my chest. And then I shaved it actually as a fundraising stunt for this program, to raise money for this program.
Right on, dude. Right on. That's how altruistic this guy is. Even when he shaves, it's for somebody else. That's awesome. So now I should admit up front that you and I were thrown together a bit last minute, so I'm not quite as prepared as I normally would be for an interview, which means that I'm going to have to leave a lot of the heavy lifting in your hands. So can you tell the audience what the Humanist Service Corps is and how you got involved with it?
Absolutely. So simply put, the Humanist Service Corps is the first and right now really the only international volunteering opportunity explicitly for non-believers. Now, obviously, it's called the Humanist Service Corps, and there are some in the wider free thought community who might have preferred a different name. I don't think we have to go into the politics of why we picked the name, but really the intention is to shine a spotlight on service-oriented atheism. We think that it's important. That's an important example for believers and non-believers alike. But then, of course, we also just want to do good service. So the Humanist Service Corps, it is that sort of beacon of ethical atheism for the world. But at the same time, it's also very careful, culturally responsible service. We think it embodies the values of humanism. Mm-hmm. And ultimately, we picked the location we are now for the launch of the Humanist Service Corps, and that's in the northern region of Ghana, working with a women's rights organization that is trying to stop the gender-based violence of witch hunting in the northern region of Ghana.
Now, I should also explain to the audience that we've got a massive time zone difference here, too. Where I am, it's like just after 3 p.m., and where Conor is, it's 1586. I'm sorry, did you say witch accusations, witch hunting?
Yeah, witch hunting.
Oh, my
God.
Wow. Okay. So before we get into that, and I do want to dwell on that quite a bit, I want to go back to something you said a minute ago. You said that you're dedicated to culturally responsible service. So what does that mean to you?
Yeah. So it means not imposing any sort of outside ideas on local activists. It means basically putting the local leaders and the local organizations in the driver's seat. So what you see a lot of times with international service, and even in the U.S., it doesn't have to be international service for volunteers to enter into communities that aren't their communities. What you see is a lot of times people bringing in rather condescending attitudes.
Right.
And they don't recognize that a lot of the situation is circumstantial, and that the best way to change the situation is to elevate leaders from within. So what we mean by culturally responsible service is we mean that our volunteers are helping move forward a movement that already exists, So we've identified a grassroots organization, and we are trying to lift that organization up. We're not trying to supplant that organization. We're not trying to steal their thunder. In fact, we ask our volunteers to take a backseat role because we want the face of change to be a local face. We want the faces that are giving direct services to these women we're supporting to be the faces of Northern Ghanaians, not the faces of, a volunteer from California or from wherever they might be. And so that's what we think culturally responsible service means. It means oftentimes as well delaying judgment or suspending judgment on certain things. Because if you think about what we're trying to do here, in order to get people to stop making witchcraft accusations, it's not primarily about helping the people who have already been victims of witchcraft accusations. Mm-hmm. It's actually helping the people who are making the accusations because they're making these accusations out of ignorance and out of, very poor standards of living. So that means in order for our volunteers to be effective, they actually have to work side by side with people who have done things that, you and I and they find highly morally reprehensible. So that's also part of the culturally responsible service. It's about suspending our cultural judgments, even if, we think they're not just subjective in this case, but actually objective. It's a rather utilitarian thing here.
Right. But I think the science really backs up that approach because, we've seen time and time again that if you want to lift people out of superstition and fundamentalist religiosity, the best way to do that is to give them control over their own lives, to give them access to education, and coming in there and being super judgmental is not a way to get there. That's awesome. So you guys are not like going out and preaching the word of atheism and giving them a translated copy of Dawkins. You're just going out there actually doing humanism.
Exactly. I mean, we like to let the work speak for us, and people are naturally curious, so they certainly ask us what we believe or don't believe. Mm-hmm. But really, it's the work that speaks first. And no, there are no tracts we're bringing, no texts or anything like that. It's actually always been kind of funny. People expect that we're coming here with an ulterior motive. So oftentimes we'll finish a project with people and they'll sit down almost expecting that we're about to, give them the spiel.
Right.
And then we say, what are you doing? Get up. Let's go grab a beer. And they even though they themselves are most often religious, they really seem to appreciate that.
Oh, I'm sure. That's so awesome. And not only are you helping to break the stereotypes globally and in America about atheists and their dedication to service, but you're also helping to break the stereotypes of what people who are trying to volunteer in places like Ghana are trying to do at the same time. That's really awesome. All right, so let's turn back to these accused witches. That's what you're focusing on right now in Ghana?
Well, the truth is that that is one aspect of the work that our partner organization does in the northern region. It's the most sensational aspect, and it certainly grabs the most attention, but it's not the only form of gender-based discrimination that we're working on. Mm-hmm. There are other really concerning issues related to access to education, especially for younger women. There are concerning issues about access to jobs. And so some of the other programs we support, in addition to, raising the standard of living for these women who have been banished for witchcraft accusations, and then also trying to decrease accusations, we're also supporting entrepreneurship programs for women smallholder farmers and other small business owners. We're supporting a program that provides remedial instruction to children who have fallen out of the education system for any number of reasons and want to get back in. And so this is something that is aimed at getting, gender equity in the classroom.
I got to say, every detail that you add makes me like this organization, or your organization, even more. Because everything that you're saying is this is sustainable. This is long term. This is not, we're going to come in and we're going to help you build a well and then we're going to get the hell out of here and feel like we've, done our duty to the third world. But rather that you're looking for sustainable long term solutions. That's great.
Exactly. That's the idea. By putting this by keeping all of this in the hands of this partner organization that is here and will always be here, that's part of our approach to sustainability.
Right on. So, what other specific projects do you have going on in the area, or is it all just partnering with this partner organization?
Well, so this is the launch year, and the focus right now is definitely on this partner organization. But I can mention one project in particular that's really sort of like I guess, I don't know if this is the right analogy, the jewel in our crown this year. It's a medical project in one of the communities where women are exiled. And this community, to be clear, is not just of alleged witches. There are, their families, and a full vibrant community has sprung up around here. But the truth is that, it's a community where people have to walk kilometers to water. It's a community where the access to healthcare is minimal. And so those are really our two primary focuses in this community. But I'm going to talk about the medical issue. We've put together a project whereby we're providing free health screenings to the entire community. And that in and of itself is great. I mean, we've already identified, nearly 30 cases of malaria. And as most people know, of course, early identification of malaria saves lives. And in fact, malaria is one of the medical or health issues connected to witchcraft accusations, because people who get malaria have fever, and then fever causes fever dreams, and dreams are considered evidence here for witch hauntings, basically.
Oh,
so
wow.
That's an issue. But anyway, I'm getting off the path for a minute. So let me get myself back. One of the really cool things about this project that we're doing is that we are organizing all of the information that we collect from these health screenings into a medical record system that is in English and the local language Dagbanli, and patches one of the fatal, and I mean that literally, flaws of the Ghana Health Services record system, which really impedes access for most people to their own records, their own medical records, which of course is not what you want to do when you're trying to get people to maintain their health, to keep track and to come in for regular checkups. So, I mean, that to me is it just embodies what we're trying to do here. And it was a project that was designed in concert with the locals and our partner organization, and even the medical officials and the authorities from the Ghana Health Service. So, I mean, it was a really collaborative effort. And like I said, we're going to leave it in the hands of the medical professionals when we leave, and that's going to be something that they can carry on and they can use for forever, if they maintain it.
Right on. Now, okay, so you actually brought me around to a question I had earlier, and that's about the Ghanaian government. Are they supporting this effort in any way?
Well, so the Ghanaian government would they wish so much that they could just make these witch camps disappear. I mean, it's an embarrassment,
right,
that these are here. But at the same time, these witch camps actually do provide sanctuary for women, many of whom would otherwise be lynched by mobs of angry accusers. So the solution is not to just shut down these camps immediately without actually remedying all the circumstances that are leading to accusations and making it safe for these women, obviously. So the government does have some investment in getting these the rates of accusation to go down, and in reintegrating the women from the camps as quickly as possible. And they've partnered with some major grant-giving organizations like USAID to make that happen. We don't directly receive any support from the government. They're not impeding anything. Our partner organization, Songtaba, does get some funding from the government for programs like its education program, that remedial education program I mentioned, but not for reintegration itself, not for this witchcraft accusations issue. Now, it remains to be seen. We're not engaged in this work yet because it's very sensitive and we're only in our first year, although we probably want to get there at some point. It remains to be seen what the government will do when we actually start putting legal pressure, when we actually start diverting these women who have had their human rights taken away from them to the legal resources that are available to them. And we educate them about all of the treaties that Ghana has signed, all of the UN declarations, and all of these NGOs that are available, that exist, simply to help them access the court system. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if when we do that and, we're putting pressure in ways the government doesn't like, that might change things. But for now, we're definitely on the same side, and we'd like to keep it that way without sacrificing our integrity on this issue.
So then, of course, obviously the next question, if it's not being funded by the local government, how exactly is your project being funded?
Yeah, so right now it's basically funded by individual donors who are following what we're doing and support what we're doing, and by Foundation Beyond Belief. And we're constantly raising money for our specific projects. And yeah, so that's basically what it is at the moment.
Right on. Well, now I've got to say, and I don't mean to brag here, but we've discovered again and again that we have an incredibly charitable audience. So if they wanted to get involved and wanted to help you out, what can they do? Where can they go?
Well, that's fantastic to hear. There are two really big opportunities right now for donors, large and small, and we need them all, honestly. And the first one is related to that medical project I was just describing. Because Foundation Beyond Belief and HSC has put a trained nurse with, years of experience in place to organize this project, we've been able to do it, aside from that initial investment in the volunteer, for very, very little cost. We're actually providing all of those health screenings and the implementation of that new record system for only $5,000. And
that's for about how many people?
Yeah, that's for 1,200 screenings.
Oh, wow.
And for an entirely new record system. So, we think that's a pretty high standard for financial efficiency there. And right now we've raised nearly $1,400 of our $5,000 goal. So if anyone can chip in there, that would be greatly appreciated. And every donation, it's literally, we're talking about every donation being malaria tests, and we are going through those malaria tests, or Lancets for diabetes and high blood pressure testing. That's what we're looking at. So, every donation is impactful. Now, the other donation opportunity is a pretty cool one, and it's very limited time-wise. We've finally succeeded in getting our partner organization, Songtaba, online to receive donations, and they're on GlobalGiving, which is a major philanthropic platform. And they're on GlobalGiving with a campaign that's part of GlobalGiving's March Open Challenge. Now, in the Open Challenge, what happens is campaigns or organizations running campaigns are given only 2 weeks to raise $5,000 for that campaign from 40 unique donors. Now, that's a big challenge. But if they do it, then they become a permanent cause on GlobalGiving. Now, our partner organization, Songtaba, although they do fantastic work, they're not well recognized by the international community, and they are still pretty small. So if we could succeed in getting 40 unique donors and $5,000 for this campaign, the campaign we're running is specifically about ending witchcraft accusations and reintegrating women who have been accused of witchcraft. That would be a major coup for Songtaba, who would then have the opportunity to raise awareness with a large international audience and to raise funds from them as well. For us, that would be evidence of what the Humanist Service Corps can do for partner organizations. But then most important, of course, for these women and for this situation in the northern region of Ghana, to be able to raise awareness long-term and bring in funds long-term to fight against, what we're fighting against really is entrenched. And I think it would be a major step forward for us, for Songtaba, for the women in this region, if we were able to get that sort of recognition on GlobalGiving. So that's another opportunity to donate that I am very excited about. And I think we can do it.
Well, I'll tell you what, again, I don't mean to brag, but our audience raised $7,000 in an hour the last time we rocked it out for a charity. I have a sneaking suspicion that they can really help out. And obviously, we'll have links on how to donate on the show notes for this episode. We'll also be sharing them on our social media, and we'll be keeping you up to date. Now, you said they had 2 weeks. This is going to air on Thursday at 8 a.m. So how much time will we have left by then?
So this ends on the 25th. March 25th. So I don't have the dates in my head straight, but that'll still leave a few days.
Oh, well, that's easy. So we're going to get that taken care of for you, man. I really appreciate the work that you're doing, and I want to give you a big thanks for taking a break for a few minutes to chat with me today.
Oh, I sincerely appreciate your help. Thanks, Noah.
Yeah, you bet.